Ah, yes, 2014. The year Katy Perry took over College Game Day and assaulted Lee Corso by throwing the Alabama head off his head. And Alabama lost to a third-string quarterback in the playoffs, which, I don't know, it seemed to become a theme later, if you know what I mean. Anyways, welcome to 2014. The way that this will work is the first round, every one of the teams, 1 through 14, will play each other. Number 1 will play number 14, number 2 will play number 13, number 3 will play number 12, etc., etc. In the second round, the highest seed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, will have a bye. And the other teams will play. Then that highest seed will come in the semifinal, play, and then the finals will be played in Atlanta. And I guess from 2014 to 2016 will be the Georgia Dome. 17 on will be the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And as always, the highest seed will host the, matchup. So, let's get it started with number 1, Alabama, taking on number 14, Vanderbilt. So, Alabama wins 59-7 against Vanderbilt. In 10 simulations, Alabama won 10 times, Vanderbilt won none, and Alabama won by 20 or more points 7 times. So, let's see, Alabama, Blake Sims went 20 for 30, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Derrick Henry had 114 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. TJ Yeldon had 8 yards and a touchdown. Amari Cooper had almost 200 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. So, needless to say, Alabama just shellacked Vanderbilt. At least Vanderbilt this time didn't get shut out. So, on to our second matchup, which will be number 2, Missouri, taking on number 13, Kentucky. And with that, Missouri wins 27-3 in 21 simulations. The game went overtime twice. Missouri won 14 times, while Kentucky won 7. Kentucky only beat Missouri by more than 20 points 1 time. Missouri won by more than 20 points 6 times. In this matchup, Patrick Tolles went 23 for 33, no touchdowns and interception. Their quarterback had the most rushing yards, and Matty Mock had 1 touchdown, no picks. It was really, the rushing that got it done for them. But I guess we'll go on to the next round. Nothing really interesting there. So, next up will be number 3, Mississippi State versus number 12, Arkansas. You know, it truly does boggle my mind how good Mississippi State was that year. They were ranked number 1 at one point, with Dan Mullen as their head coach. And I guess they had Dak Prescott. I mean, nothing really that special. But they did have Chris Jones. He's a dog. So, let's see how it went. Mississippi State trounced Arkansas 20-3. And Mississippi State won 14 times, Arkansas won 8. There were 22 simulations, so let's see how it went this time. Brandon Allen did not do very well. Had an interception, no touchdowns. The running game, it went okay. Alex Collins, Jonathan Williams, but just nothing. Dak Prescott didn't do that well either. He had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. The running game wasn't that good either. He had a bunch of guys that ran the ball okay. I guess it was just those 2 passing touchdowns by Dak Prescott that got them the win. Well, I guess we'll go on to the next round. Next round, we have number 4, Georgia, taking on number 11, South Carolina. In this regular season, South Carolina actually beat Georgia, but it was in Columbia, so we'll see how that goes. Georgia this year had Todd Gurley, but at this point in the season, he was injured, but in this simulation, they're still going to have him because it was, these rosters are from the beginning of the season. So, you're going to have Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel. And then South Carolina, and this time South Carolina wins it. South Carolina won the tiebreaker, so South Carolina with the upset, the first upset so far, beating Georgia 24-23. For all the Georgia fans out there, it's okay. We've gotten them in the last couple of years. It's fine. So let's see what happened. Dylan Thompson did not have that good of a day, threw an interception, but Brandon Wilds had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Thanks, Todd Grantham. And then Georgia, Todd Gurley, no running back over 100 yards, but combined, Nick Chubb had 70 yards, Todd Gurley had 61. Hudson Mason had a touchdown pass, but just not enough against South Carolina. So, next up, we got Ole Miss versus Tennessee. You know, I'm not really that familiar with how Tennessee did this year. I mean, it's kind of an enigma. I know that they played it close with Georgia in 2014, but I think they had Worley at quarterback. I'm just not very familiar with it. So we'll see how they do against Bo Wallace and Ole Miss. Let's see. Ole Miss wins 30-9. Out of 25 simulations, Ole Miss wins 22 times. Tennessee wins 3. Okay, yeah. That's what I expected. So how did they do? Worley, an interception. Running game, terrible. Tennessee just couldn't get off the bus. Bo Wallace, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Not that good, but you also had Jordan Wilkins, who almost had 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, I mean, I think it's fine. So, with the next one, we got Auburn versus Texas A&M. So, I'll meet y'all when we get there. I'm surprised Auburn didn't do better than they did in 2014. I mean, they still had Nick Marshall. They still had Gus Malzahn. They still had a couple of their other guys. I guess it's because every SEC team had seen them once that played them. And we're like, okay, we know how to stop this. I mean, it was just a real big turnaround. So let's see how they did against Texas A&M. They won 45-24. It was a close game in real life, but I guess Auburn just said, nah, I'm gonna blow out A&M. And they did 12 times, 6 times, and then they beat them 12 times, and then Texas A&M won 6 times. So, Kenny Hill, 2 touchdowns and interception. Not bad, honestly. The pick is the only bad thing about it. Trey Williams, a touchdown. Malcolm Kennedy, a touchdown. Josh Reynolds, a touchdown. Nick Marshall, oh my gosh. 67% completion percentage, 5 touchdown passes. My gosh, dude. Go off then. He had a touchdown pass to D. Williams, Ricardo Lewis, Sammy Coates. Who else? Corey Grant. Dang, dude. Daniel Carlson, 1 of 1. So there you go. Auburn to the next round. Next up, we'll have LSU taking on Florida. You know, this is a great rivalry between these two schools. I mean, it's 2 teams that have championship aspirations every year, crazy fans. Louisiana and Florida in general are just very tight-knit, I guess. Very close to what they usually are. So, let's see how they did. In real life, it was a close game. Let's see what happened here. Florida with the upset. With another upset of the day. How many matchups? 3? Okay. There you go, Florida. Let's see how they did. Jeff Driscoll, touchdown, 2 interceptions. Terrible. Kelvin Taylor carrying them with a touchdown. And their defense really was carrying them. Anthony Jennings, not that good. Under 50% of his passes. Terrence Maggie. Not really a lot going on for LSU. Dang. I would have thought this would have been closer. Oh well. Alright, at the end of round 1, this is how we look. Alabama won, so they'll be going to they'll have a bye in this round. Missouri won, Mississippi State won, Ole Miss won, Auburn won, Florida won, and South Carolina won. South Carolina won. So those will be our second round matchups. First matchup of the second round, we got the Missouri Tigers hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks. This would be good for Missouri to get the payback for 2013, keeping South Carolina beating them and keeping them out of playoff contention. But we'll see what happens. I don't remember. I haven't looked at their schedules in a while. I don't remember who won the 2014 matchup, but oh well. Missouri gets a close one. Close win at home against South Carolina, beating them 12 times every single time they beat them. 2 overtimes happened. They beat them by 20 plus 3 times. What happened here? Dylan Thompson had a good game. Over 50% of his passes and 2 touchdowns. The running game, besides Mike Davis, really couldn't get going. Matty Monk didn't have the best day either. Under 50% of his passes, a touchdown and a pick. The running game did better. Marcus Murphy, 80 yards. Russell Hansborough. I guess there's 2. Russell Hansborough. One had a touchdown, and the other, I guess Marcus Murphy also got a touchdown. Either way. And then Jamie Hunt got the touchdown receiving. Dang. Okay. There you go, Missouri going to the semifinals. Next up, we got Mississippi State taking on Florida. Right here, we got the Dan Mullen Bowl. Let's see what we can get out of this right here. If I was a betting man, I would say Mississippi State comes out of it in a close one. Dak Prescott, that team, pretty good, so we'll see. Yeah, they came out of it with blowout fashion. 3 times simulation, they won every time. So yeah, Mississippi State is going on to the next round, and Jeff Driscoll, 50% of his passes, good for you. Dak, pretty good. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Josh Robinson, almost 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. There you go. All right, going to the next round. Next up, we got Ole Miss hosting Auburn. I think that this was the year 2014 when Ole Miss played Auburn, and on that last play that could have been a touchdown to take the lead, Laquan Treadwell got hurt, and it was a touchback that led Auburn to beat Ole Miss and keep them out of playoff contention, I think. So, yeah, it's like we'll see if Ole Miss can get the payback, and they did. 41 simulations, Ole Miss won 23 times, Auburn won 18. 2 overtimes happened during this time. Average score, Ole Miss 22, Auburn 20.1, decided by 5 points. 12 times. So what happened here? Nick Marshall got shut down, only threw a touchdown and 95 yards. Cameron Artis-Payne got a touchdown. On Ole Miss's side, Bo Wallace, 58% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. Need to cut down those picks if you want to win the SEC. Besides that, dang, there you go. Ole Miss going to the semifinals. Welcome to the semifinal, where we have Alabama taking on Ole Miss and Missouri taking on Mississippi State. So I'll get that set up, and we'll be ready to go. I'm sure Alabama would be raring for a rematch this year if they had a chance to play Ole Miss again. So we'll see how it goes here. And, yeah. I mean, Ole Miss always had the chance to pull the upset. Alabama's had, in our little simulation, has had a week to recover. So we'll see how it goes. And Alabama, in 138 simulations, beats Ole Miss 30-21. Alabama won 96 times. Ole Miss won 42. Well, at least they're keeping it. Getting some wins, I guess. But Alabama comes up in the end. Bo Wallace did good to cut down the interceptions, but 65% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns and a pick. The run game couldn't get going at all. Alabama, on their side, I mean, Blake Sims didn't really have a good day through the air. He threw under 60% of his passage for only 1 touchdown, but no picks. Derrick Henry had under 100 yards rushing, but he had a touchdown, and so did TJ Yeldon. So, what happened here? How did they get 30? Let's see. Let's go with this. Tied at 0, Alabama. TJ Yeldon touchdown. Blake Sims passed to Christian Jones for a touchdown. Then Ole Miss, Bo Wallace got it to Markel Pack for a 69-yard touchdown. Adam Griffith got a field goal. Adam Griffith got another field goal. Bo Wallace passed deep to Laquan Treadwell for a touchdown. Adam Griffith got another touchdown, or got another field goal. Quincy Adebojo for the touchdown. And then Derrick Henry got the 4-yard touchdown. Okay. So that was how it ended. Ole Miss had a chance to stop and take the lead, but it didn't happen. All right. On to the next round. On to the next team, sorry. Next up, we have Missouri hosting Mississippi State. So for the SEC Championship, we're either going to have what we had originally, or we're going to have a rematch of, I believe it was 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3, and when Alabama played Mississippi State this year. So we'll see what happens. Even with the extra one, Mississippi State comes up with the upset. Whoa. They won both times, too, in the 2 simulations. Wow. Dak Prescott, almost 330 yards passing and a touchdown. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. He put the team on its back. Whoa. And then Missouri just couldn't get much going. Matty Mock had an I8 day. The running game got going, but they just could not put points on the board, I guess. Mississippi State going to the SEC Championship against Alabama. So, let's see how it goes. Alabama will be representing the home team in this game as being the higher seed, but there is no home field advantage. So, let's see what happens. Alabama in the original matchup won a defensive game and pulled away late. Let's see if they can do that again to get back in the playoffs and maybe play Ohio State, which they probably would. So, let's see. Alabama, in 1,107 simulations with 35 overtimes, beats Mississippi State 34-28 in a very close game. They won 718 times. Mississippi State won 389. Dak Prescott in this one threw for almost 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dak had a touchdown. Brandon Holloway got a touchdown. Josh Robinson couldn't get 100 yards, but it's hard to against Alabama. And then Alabama, Blake Sims had a day. Almost 250 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, under 100 yards, but got a touchdown as well. So Alabama wins the SEC title. And one extra thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a rematch against Ohio State to see if they would come out victorious. Let's see. Them against Cardale Jones or JT Barrett or whoever's starting. Let's see what happens. Alabama loses to Ohio State. Like in real life, in 754 simulations and 41 overtimes, Alabama only won 321 times to Ohio State's 433. JT Barrett, 209 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like I said originally, these simulations are from the beginning of the season, so may not have who started at the point, like Cardale Jones. He did have a touchdown, but for some reason, he was rushing. So, I don't know if they had him as a Wildcat quarterback or what, but yeah. And then Blake Sims, he had a good day, just not good enough, I guess. Derrick Henry didn't have a good day. So, there you have it. 2014 SEC tournament, Alabama wins it and loses to Ohio State, like in real life. So, who knows? These could turn out just like they usually are. So, anyways, hope y'all enjoyed, and JT out.